True story. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back for our final week of our 8-week Extraordinary Lifestyle Entrepreneur Challenge. I'm Dave Bush along with Jim Cathcart here. We're glad you're here. We're glad that you're watching this, whether you're watching it live on the webinar or whether you're on the Facebook Live or maybe you're watching a recording of it. We're just glad that you're here and learning from us today and sharing some ideas and principles about how to generate extraordinary results. You know, it's been a good 8 weeks for us. I mean, Jim, I'm just excited to be here today to get a chance to be reminded of some of the secrets to generating extraordinary results. But we've had a lot of people that have come and gone, and there's been some people that haven't stayed committed to the full 8 weeks. And maybe you could give some encouragement to those people that didn't necessarily get all 8 weeks of the challenge completed, and some adoration for those people that did.
Well, the thing is, discipline is not something that's once it's built, it stays. You know, it's something that it's kind of like a plant. Once it's grown, you've still got to nurture the plant. Now, it's going to grow and bear fruit on its own, but if you don't give it the appropriate nutrients and the appropriate water at the right time, then it's ultimately going to wither. So discipline requires not only that you decide to do it and start doing it, but also that you keep doing it. Now, however, nobody always sticks to the plan. Nobody. All of us fall off the wagon from time to time. All of us, get started on something like going on a diet, and then we see some ice cream on a very hot day, and we think, well, just to cool myself down, and there goes the diet for that meal. What most people tend to do at that point is they say, oh, interruption to pattern, I will give up the pattern. What? If you're rowing a boat and you miss one of the strokes and the oar doesn't hit the water, do you say, okay, pattern's been interrupted, I'm done, sorry, I tried, but I cannot row. I guess I'll just follow the stream wherever it goes and take my lumps. No, you just put it back in the water and you row again. Whatever you miss, if you overeat or if you don't exercise or if you misbehave or whatever it happens to be that breaks the pattern of what you were committed to, just consider that a hiccup. Go back to normal breathing. Just pause for a second, get your bearings, and get back on the program. Yeah, but I had forget that. That's all past. That's all just baggage you bring into the present that clouds your view of reality. If you want to be more, better, smarter, healthier, more pleasant to be around, more successful, more disciplined about money, whatever, then do it again, and do it again, and do it again. It's like in the book Younger Next Year by Chris Crowley and Henry Lodge. Chris Crowley is a guy who today is in his 80s, and he still skis black diamond ski runs, and he's very fit, and he's an amazing and hilarious guy to be around. I've been with him. And I follow his advice in the book Younger Next Year, subtitle, How to Live Like 50 Until You're 90 and Beyond. One of the main things he says in that book is he says, after you're 50 years old, you've got a new part-time job. 40 minutes of intense exercise 6 days a week for the rest of your life. Why? And what if you don't do 6? What if you only did 3? What if you did none this week? Well, you still got that same part-time job waiting for you for the rest of your life. If you don't take care of your fitness, you have to make time for illness. If you have to make time for illness, you'll also have to allow for a lifestyle change to accommodate your infirmities, because you're going to lose the function of body parts. And the more that happens, the more of an invalid you become and the more dependent on other people. So why not do the trade out and just commit to 40 minutes a day of exercise, 6 days a week for the rest of your life, and know there will be times when you don't do it. And then apply that same discipline to non-physical fitness things like your finances, or like sales and growing your business, or whatever it happens to be. Do the same thing on being a better parent. Just commit to what's going to matter for the rest of your life and follow that path and keep getting back to it every time you get lost in the woods off to the side.
Yeah, well, great motivation, Jim, and obviously the motivation expert is giving us some great tips to just get back and get started again. If you've fallen away from moving your business and your life forward, this is not to necessarily throw the baby out with the bathwater and say you'll start again when the kids get back to school. This is one of those things where you just, pick up, get your running shoes out, and you put them on, and you get back at the trail, you get back on the road to success. And today we're going to be talking about some specific secrets, and we call them secrets because if it was well known by everybody that it was this simple to get extraordinary results, they'd probably be doing it, right, Jim?
Probably would. And that's the whole thing, is that word extra. Everybody else is ordinary. Yep. If you choose to be different, if you choose to be happier, you choose to be healthier, more successful, more wealthy, you're going to have to do the extra. And all you do is add extra to the ordinary, and there you go.
So if anybody wants to go back and watch the recordings of these 8 weeks of great content, you can go to the Facebook group, which you see here on the page at the very bottom, and we can gain you access to that particular private group, and you can interact with other lifestyle entrepreneurs that are trying to aspire to have greater success and significance in their life and in their business. And we share a whole bunch of great resources and tools that we shared during the 8-week challenge. So if you're just signing on for the very first time or watching this video on the Facebook or on YouTube, you can go into this Facebook group and access all of these videos and all of the PowerPoint content. So let's just go ahead and jump right in, Jim. We talked about, the 6 specific things that we consider to be secrets on what gives people extraordinary results and what holds people back from extraordinary results. And the very first one was something we talked about in week 1, and that was the idea of gaining clarity or gaining a clear sense of vision of what it is that you really want to create or what you want to be, do, and have. Talk a little bit more about the power of having a clear sense of vision or dream or mission to go do the things that are extraordinary.
If you think of this on a metaphysical plane, kind of a cosmic awareness thing, there's a thing in science called a strange attractor. When you look at chaos theory and some of those more advanced philosophical concepts, the one thing that they talk about in chaos theory is the basic premise of it, I guess, is that the universe is pretty much chaotic. The things are happening spontaneously in all kinds of different ways. And there's not a clear, at least not to humans, a clear pattern to it all that we can easily understand. However, within any chaotic thing, like the weather, there are elements known as strange attractor. That means there's something that is causing the pattern to coalesce in predictable ways for periods of time that might be hard to identify what that thing was, therefore the name strange. But it's attracting other things to happen. I hope this isn't too complex in the way I'm saying it. I'm trying to simplify a pretty high-minded kind of a concept.
Well, I threw you off when I showed pictures of a cloud into a form of a castle.
Oh, that's a good point. We'll take Walt Disney, because that looks like a Disneyland image, looks like a fantasy castle. Take Walt Disney as your example. Walt Disney decided that he wanted to create the happiest place on earth. So he clarified his vision, and then he communicated it. In other words, he decided what he wanted to be, do, and have, and then he started telling the world about it. And the more he told the world about it, and the better his storytelling got in painting that picture for others, the more other people thought, I'd like to have that too. And the more he told it to the right people, the more people with resources said to him, hey, Walt, I want in. How can I help? So by clarifying what he wanted to be, do, and have, and telling the story to other people, especially to the right types of people, he found that he became the strange attractor in that chaos, and others who he'd never have thought of connecting with necessarily were saying, hey, excuse me, aren't you the guy that's building the happiest place on earth? Tell me about that. I might want in. I might know somebody who wants in or who could help. And all of a sudden these resources came together. It's sort of like if you go out and buy a new blue Volkswagen, start driving around your community, you'll start noticing other Volkswagens, and you'll see that there are more other blue Volkswagens on the road than you ever had any idea there were. Why? Because of selective perception. So when you have a particular point of view, and that point of view would be the view of an owner of that car, then you start noticing things that are compatible with your point of view. If you go to a football stadium and sit in the stands and look out at that sea of people and say to yourself, I want to see the color red, all of a sudden, the amount of red in that audience will just jump out at you. Now, your vision didn't change, the reality didn't change, but your perception changed profoundly because you tuned in to one specific attractor, the color red in this case. And then you change to, okay, I only want to see white. Whoa. And it almost pops when you do that. It's an amazing exercise. Well, the same thing's true throughout the world. As you get clear on what you want, and then you start communicating that by first putting it in writing to communicate it better to yourself, and then telling the story of it to other people you trust, then what happens is opportunities start emerging. You see, what you were hoping to, what was attracting you and you were hoping to achieve is now you attracting it, because you have become the force, the energy source that's drawing that toward you. That may be really high-minded stuff, but that's how it works. Get clear on what you want. The rest of the world starts saying, hey, can I help?
Yeah, I love I'm not sure who quoted this, but I was told the story that, when they had built Disneyland and they kind of opened up the doors, somebody had made a mention that, they had wished that Walt Disney was there to see it. And somebody responded, he saw it.
Yeah.
He saw it before it was built.
That was Disney World. Yeah.
Oh, Disney World. Okay.
The one in Florida. Yeah.
And, Henry David Thoreau has a great quote, and he says, have you built your castles in the sky? Good. That's where they should be. Now build the foundations underneath them. And, sometimes we put, pie in the sky, dreams, visions, fantasies out there without any real crystal clear clarity as to what that vision may really entail in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years down the road. And that's what
a lot of people have a fear. Actually, it's rooted in self-doubt. They don't think they can do it. And so they say, well, I don't want to write it as a goal. And then in parentheses, unstated, what they're saying is, because I don't think I'll achieve it, I don't believe in myself that much, and I don't want to feel bad if I don't do it. So it's just self-doubt and fear, a lack of confidence expressing itself. Write your goals down. If you don't achieve them, you don't achieve them. There are lots of things you haven't achieved. Don't worry about that. Write your goals down. Tell the world what you want, and it will be more likely to come to you.
Yeah. Well, let's move to number 2. The secret number 2 is to prioritize your dreams with deadlines. You kind of were leading into that, but the idea of actually prioritizing and picking something that you are really passionate about, that you want to be, do, and have, and really putting that into a high priority and somewhat organizing your life around that. Talk a little bit more about how you prioritize, Jim, because sometimes the things that have our heart don't necessarily earn us the most money, and we're trying to make that change.
Years ago, I took on a huge responsibility, and it was going to require more time than I had. So I knew I needed to prioritize things, because otherwise my life would get totally out of balance. If you look at your life and you look at the mental, physical, family, social, spiritual, career, financial, emotional, all those areas, whichever of those areas you neglect is the one that's going to cause problems for you pretty soon. So you have to spend time on your finances, but not all your time. You have to spend time on your health, but not all your time, on your family, on your spiritual beliefs and your faith, and living a life of integrity. You've got to spend time on all of those, but not all your time. So it's fine to put all the emphasis on one of them or two of them for a while, but make sure it doesn't go long before you get to the others. So a goal without a deadline is not a goal, it's just a wish. So putting a deadline or a target date on it I want to have this accomplished within the next 5 years. I want to do this by Thursday, the 6th of May. I want to do this by 3 p.m. this afternoon. I want to do this once a week in a minimum of an hour each day, or a maximum of an hour each day. I want to do this. When you put restraints on it, then it kind of crystallizes. It is no longer, what do you want? I want health and wealth and happiness. What? Yeah, I want to feel good and be healthy. I want to have all the money I need, and I want to be happy. Well, so does every living entity. Be specific. Well, I want to be fit and trim and beautiful. Okay, what's fit and trim and beautiful? Well, I want to clear up my complexion. I want to get my hair cut in a more appealing way. I want to be cleaner than I usually am. I want to shrink my waist to this measurement. And I want to be able to run this far without getting out of breath and feeling like my lungs are on fire. Now we got something to work with. Okay, so get specific. Otherwise, then you just got a general desire that applies to all of life.
Yeah. Well, the idea of prioritization is sometimes difficult because there's so many good things out there that come at us, especially people that are influencers like the ones that are watching this video. And sometimes good can be confused with great. We have a lot of really good things happening and we say things are good, but they're not great or they're not extraordinary. And so prioritizing and really getting focused on the things that you really want to be, do, and have, that you have a high desire for, is going to be crucial. It's going to be one of the secrets to your extraordinary results. Let's talk about the idea of planning to succeed. We talked about goal setting here, but let's talk about this idea of a SMART acronym.
Well, let me throw it back to you, David. Do you have a particular goal that comes to mind that you have set that we could use as an example in the past?
Yeah. So I have a big goal, kind of a big, hairy, audacious goal that I've set quite a few years back. And I've set a goal that I wanted to be able to develop a team of 5,000 lifestyle entrepreneurs that I was, helping to empower so that they could empower the lives of many other people. Now, 5,000 people is a lot of people. I want to have an impact. I want to have significance with that. So I've taken that big dream of having 5,000 lifestyle entrepreneurs that are looking to me for guidance and coaching and assistance or resources. And I've chunked that down to be able to say, okay, that may be my 5-year goal, but in the next year, I want to be able to have 250 or 500. And so breaking that down into specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals.
Like, I get specific because you're saying lifestyle entrepreneurs who you're coaching, and I assume your coaching is specifically to help them be more successful with their business and in keeping their life in balance as well.
Right.
Okay. So measurable, you've now quantified it and you've given it a time frame. What about attainable? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so attainable, I'm looking at it as, is that something that I could do with the amount of time and energy that I'm willing to give towards it? And I truly believe that it's something that is very attainable for me, not because I'm special, but because other people have done it. And I've seen other people develop a following of that amount of people. So when I did my initial big dream, it was something that was kind of a stretch goal for me. But I knew that there were other people that had done it that had similar skill sets and backgrounds. So I felt it was attainable to me.
Well, there've been, the word that always comes up on this is realistic, the R word. People say, well, yeah, that's a great goal, but is it really realistic? Well, realistic meaning, could it be made real in the world as we know it today? And most people look at realistic as, am I a good bet for achieving that goal? That's not the way to think about it. Realistic, look at it this way. Attainable means, has it ever been done, or has something like it ever been done? So is there any evidence on earth in history that this sort of thing is doable? Well, yeah, lots of amazing people. They're qualifying it. Amazing people, yeah. Lots of amazing people, lots of people that have da-da-da-da-da-da-da, which I don't have. Those people have done it. Okay, if anyone's done it, you can do it. Now, you may not be as smart as them, so you need more advice than they did. You may not be as strong as them, so you may need more tools than they did. You may not be as quick as them, so you may need more helpers than they did. But it's totally doable. It's attainable. Then you have to determine whether it makes sense for you to commit to that goal. If you really, really want it, it probably does. But if the price is too big, choose a different goal, alter that goal.
Yeah, one of the things that, the R and the relevant side of things, that was something that was somewhat new to me. And when I was explained that concept, it was, is it relevant to your mission, visions, and values? So, if you have visions of, grandeur with your business, but it's going to rob you of spending time with your spouse or spending time with your kids or grandkids, it may not be a relevant goal because it may not be relating back to this fact that you had these values in place. But one of my mission statements, Jim, was that I wanted to coach leaders to design and live extraordinary lives. And that's my mission statement, but I'm not going to allow that to rob my family of my quality time. So I try to not only spend time with them, but I try to transfer that mission and the goal to my kids so that they can see for themselves what goal setting looks like and how to intertwine life balance and achievement together.
See, I've been involved in the field of success motivation since the 1970s. And as past president of the National Speakers Association, I've come to know most of the major gurus in this field today. I know thousands of people, and lots of those are lots being in the dozens, are people at the top of the food chain when it comes to authors of best-selling books and high-fee motivational speakers and business leaders. But what I found is that the number of them who have really cool, admirable kids who have grown into highly functioning adults, the number of them who have stable family situations, the number of them who have excellent health even later in life, the number of them who have financial stability is way different than the number of them who are out there making noise and generating revenue. So I committed a long time ago to make sure that my success was going to be sustainable success, and that I wasn't going to throw my life out of balance in achieving the success that I was going after. And so I found a lot of gurus that were telling me, no, you got to pay the price. You got to go to the distance. You got to do whatever it takes. No. Whatever it takes within the context of still being a good person and having a good life and having people around you who love you and you love them back. Choose your gurus carefully.
Yeah.
Follow people who are living what they are preaching and look at their life and say, I want my life to be like that. Okay, I'll follow them.
Yeah, and that goes to the next step or the next secret that we have that's about implementing the goals and plans into your calendar. And this takes time. Sometimes you got to massage the calendar. Sometimes you have to delete some stuff off the calendar. You have to delegate some things. You have to defer some things. I mean, maybe you want to get the basement remodeled, or you want to end up spending time traveling around the world, but you also want to double your business. You have to go back and look at your calendar and make sure that your calendar matches your goals. And actually,
you can bundle things as well. You can accomplish one thing with another. Paula and I have seen, my wife Paula and I have seen much of the world together. And I've been in all 50 US states. She's been in a lot of them. I've been in all provinces of Canada. She's been in most of them. She picks and chooses. She'll say, when is it you are going to Syracuse? When is it we are going to Bermuda? There's a noticeable difference in those two questions. So I've managed to make a lot of my business trips personal trips as well. And at a very small added expense, I've taken time to fulfill my business responsibilities and then to fulfill my personal wishes and happiness responsibilities with Paula or with my son, Jim Jr., and, like that. So there are a lot of ways you can combine things and make one feed 2 or 3 of your one activity, feed those goals.
Yeah, let's jump into number 5 here. We got break through the challenges and obstacles, and we have something that we like to say amongst our lifestyle entrepreneurs: the obstacle is the way, you know. And so, if you're hitting obstacles, just believe that that is part of the journey. Is to embrace the obstacle or the challenge, you know, the lack of finances, the lack of time, the lack of support, the lack of, expertise. But if you're building walls around yourself because you have thought that things are stopping you, those are oftentimes walls that have been built and constructed by you, not by other people. Jim, talk a little bit more about how to break through the challenges and
I would
obstacles.
say oftentimes, more likely, most of the time, it's self-imposed. Now, whatever it is you feel is holding you back, chances are it's you and it's your thinking. And if you change your mindset, then the landscape changes, because the things that hold you back are typically based in fear. And if you drill down on fear, it's interesting. Someone says, well, what if we don't make it? Well, excuse me, but answer the question. Well, what do you mean? You said, what if we don't make it? What if we don't make it? We'll lose money. Okay. What else? We'll be embarrassed. Okay. What else? We'll have to do something else for a while to recover. Okay. And what if that happens? Well, then it'll be hard. Yeah. Too hard to stay alive? Well, no, but upsetting and hard. Yeah. Can you get over that? Well, yeah, but it might take some time. Okay. How much time? You don't know. Neither do I. Is it worth the risk? Well, yeah. Okay. So the answer to what if we fail is we'll dust ourselves off, pay the dues of failing, and get back in the game. So go for it, for heaven's sakes. Don't just say, what if there's too much traffic? What if it costs too much? What if we can't afford it? Answer your question, for heaven's sakes. Take us through this word jumble you have here.
Yeah, and just a great way to just show people the power of perspective. When you read out that phrase that is kind of conjoined together and there's no spaces in it, there's some people out there that would read it as opportunity is nowhere. And, other people may take some time or may see it a little bit differently, and they may see it as opportunity is now here. So, the shoe salesperson that goes to the town where nobody's wearing shoes and says, you know what, nobody's buying shoes here, nobody's wearing shoes. Or the guy that goes there and says, send me 10 times the amount that we need because we got opportunity everywhere. So all of our challenges and obstacles are all an opportunity. And it's basically, our results depend upon our own expectations. And so, if you're in a spot right now where you're kind of bouncing off of a barrier, you're bouncing off of an obstacle and growing your lifestyle entrepreneur business, then look at it as this is the way. And I'm going to find a way to get around the lack of time, the lack of resources, the lack of customers, and I'm going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
Jim, wrap us up here and talk a little bit more about assessments and the concept of measuring your success.
Peter Drucker, famous management guru, Peter Drucker said, things that are measured tend to improve. And the reason that's so is because anything you measure requires your attention. And when it gets your attention, it gets some of your energy. And if it gets some of your energy and you care about it, you'll do something about it. So whatever we measure tends to improve. Measure exactly how much money comes into your life every day, even the money you find laying on the ground in a parking lot, and measure the exact amount of money that you spend every day, and you will become better with money. Not because you know more, just because you noticed more by measuring. I believe in assessments very strongly. I've used them in my own life, and I still do. And I also have developed them for other people. I created one called the Sales IQ Plus, which is an online assessment I did with Dr. Tony Alessandra and Jeffrey Gittimer. And it helps people measure their level of sales awareness and skill in all the different categories of selling. Also, personality assessments like the DISC or the behavioral styles assessment, the platinum rule that Tony Alessandra developed from the work he and I had done together. Those kind of instruments are very helpful in making you more aware of how you come across to others, how you deal with situations, how you habitually do your work, or how you habitually communicate. And the more we are aware of, the more self-aware we become, the better choices we can make. And the person who is most self-aware is most likely to be self-accepting and self-improving. Those who are not taking the time to take an objective look at themselves are probably missing a lot of great opportunities because they're assuming things they feel and heard in the past are solidly true. Not necessarily so. We need the objective point of view.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jim. And I was talking with one of our lifestyle entrepreneur followers this last weekend, and he was talking a little bit more about, some of the things that he had evaluated in his own personal life. And he was trying to grow his business and he was trying to expand his client base. But what he found is that he had lost some of his own edge. And when he lost his own edge, and he actually evaluated and said, I had lost some of my own edge, and I was out there trying to improve my strategies and tactics, from a business standpoint, but it was me that was the problem. It wasn't the strategies and tactics that I was doing. So he was trying to manipulate all the different things that are out there, the funnels and the clicking and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it was him that was actually not being attractive to some of the clientele that he was actually working with. And that's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, Jim, is when it's you that's the problem or when it's you that's the barrier. Talk about how you can be okay with not being perfect and actually accepting criticism or accepting feedback from an assessment that says you're not as good as you think they are.
Nobody is. I take that back. The variable there is how good you think you are. Sometimes we kid ourselves and we think we're better than we are. It's like I went into a sales room for a furniture company one day, and the guy said, so what do you do? And I said, I'm a sales trainer and author. And he said, I'm an excellent salesman. I said, well, wonderful. So you're the top salesperson here? He said, no, but I'm an excellent salesperson. And I said, how is it you're an excellent salesperson? He said, I'm just really good. So this guy clearly was just deluding himself with a bunch of boasts and wasn't taking the time to notice that his arrogance and his boastfulness was losing himself a sale with me at that exact moment. And instead of taking an interest in me and what I wanted from furniture, he was interested in making sure I was impressed that he was an excellent salesman. And I left there and he didn't get a sale that day. Must not have been as excellent as he thought he was. And then there are people say, I could never do that, whatever that happens to be, selling, becoming fit, being popular, being successful, getting rich. I could never do that. Why? Well, the answer in truth is because you won't allow yourself to believe that you're worthy of it. You won't allow yourself to believe that you're capable of training yourself to be better. But the people who take the time to go through this full course with us, the people who take the time to write down clearly what they want and to be specific in targeting that goal and then post it somewhere where every single day they're going to see it to remind themselves of what they want. And the people that start telling the story of what it's going to be like in the future as they achieve it, not like a fantasy story, but a prediction of reality story. Those are the people who become bigger, more capable, more confident every day, and they achieve the results that they were dreaming of.
Very true, Jim. And as we wrap up this 8-week Extraordinary Lifestyle Entrepreneur course and challenge, I just want to go back and maybe just have a heart-to-heart conversation with those of you that are watching this video. And I want you to give yourself some honest answers to these questions. Will you accept the extraordinary call to be extraordinary, to go above and beyond what's usual, regular, and customary, which is the definition of the word extraordinary? That's a phone call that comes in each and every day, every hour, every minute. Every time that you get an opportunity, you have to be willing to answer that call if you want to get the extraordinary results. You have to apply the extraordinary catalyst, which we talked about way in the very beginning in week 1, which was the dream, that be, do, and have vision. If you don't have a good, clear vision or dream of what it is you want to be, do, and have, you probably won't have the excitement or the emotion or the enthusiasm to achieve what it is that you've laid out in front of you. It'll remain a fantasy. The choices, Jim talked about putting the running shoes in front of the door and just making sure that every day he put on those shoes and got going with his exercise. And sometimes he didn't go far, but every day he made a fundamental choice and a secondary choice that said, I want to get healthy, and I also want to put my shoes on. That's something I'm going to choose to do. So are you going to make those extraordinary choices, or are you going to be ordinary? Because Jim and I are not going to beg you to live an extraordinary life. We want you to take the steps if you want to take them, because we want to make an impact in your life, but it's going to take these steps to get there. Jim, the extraordinary commitment, having a coach, and the idea of embracing the challenges that come along with that. What are the final words that you could give to somebody that is, really considering those next steps to take their business or their life to the next level?
I just want you to remember that you can do this, that you personally are capable of having an abundant life. The purpose of life is life. I mean, I'm not talking about metaphysically, I'm not talking about philosophically or spiritually. I'm talking about on a scientific level. The reason life exists is to live fully. And any cell, any organism, any being that does not live fully cheats itself and the rest of the world out of whatever it could have contributed. So if you want to have a life that you think, man, I'm glad I'm alive. What a great blessing to be me today, to have these experiences. I had the pain, I had the difficulty, but I get the rewards too. How great it is. If you want that, you got to recognize you are genetically designed to have it. You have the intellect to learn great things. You have the ability to communicate and make a powerful difference in the lives of others. You have the physical ability to change things, to do things, to learn new skills. You are capable of making this world a better place, and in doing so, you will love yourself more for doing it. You will feel much better, more meaning and more satisfaction deep inside. You were put here for a reason, and that reason is directly along the lines of what gives you joy and satisfaction. How do you know you're on the right path? Because it feels right. How do you know you're on the right path? Because you feel like, wow, what a privilege to get this, to be able to do this. What a joy. That's how you know you're on the right path. Life isn't about sugar, it's about meat. It's not about the little fun moments and just laughing and indulging yourself. It's about making a difference and mattering to the people and things that matter to you. God bless you, and thank you for being involved.
Thanks, Jim. And that is an extraordinary life. And if you want more tips and secrets on how to live the extraordinary life and how to generate extraordinary results so that you can become the extraordinary lifestyle entrepreneur, hop on over to theextraordinarylife.com and download the free ebook. We'll stay in touch with you and send you future webinar invitations and opportunities to stay plugged in to some of the things that we're doing with our online coaching groups, our personal coaching. We've got lots of places for you to plug in. We'll stay in contact with you if you simply follow us on Facebook, or if you download the ebook. We'll just keep you abreast of some up and coming courses and events that we're going to be doing. And on behalf of Jim and I just say thank you. Thank you for being a part of what we've done. If you've liked this video and you're watching it online, please share it and let other people know this message is available to them as well, because not only will you get a chance to benefit personally, but you'll get a chance to be a part of somebody else's story. So Jim, thanks so much for your time for these last 8 weeks of great wisdom. We look forward to catching up with all of you really soon.
Great job. Take care.
See you, everybody.